Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Massive drama in the Americas kicking off yet again, and this time it's NRG getting involved in the situation after collapsing out of the Americas kickoff not that long ago. Supposedly internal drama has come to a head and serious changes are being made. Coach Bonka is benched. Rumour has it he's going to Fnatic already, and Verno, one of their top players theoretically coming into the new season, is out of the team as well. What has happened here? How many mistakes have NRG made to let it get to this point? Sean Gers gives his perspective on the situation as well, saying he's heard for some time internal drama was at a brink of blowing this team entirely up. What does FNS have to say on the matter? What does their former coach have to say on the matter? Loads of drama today. Very much enjoyed to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. And also, who are they going to get next? That is one of the key questions if this rumour comes true. Chet, as always, with some absolutely premium quality hating. Before we get into the NRG stuff, there was a big result last night in the Challenger side, and as Dapper says, they officially selected Style Valorant as their assistant coach for the Qubit Academy, and I thought it was nice that he also shouted out some other individuals that did a great job in the application process. Shout out Rocket Bullets as well, here he is, my goat. But yeah, keep up the good work, gentlemen, says Dapper. They did, however, go on to lose the series to Rankers in pretty dramatic fashion. Well, I mean, dramatic in the sense that they got absolutely clapped. Now, Rankers, they are disgusting, and it's, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, this team, incredibly talented, fully younger players, and, you know, Canadera is absolutely absurd. Like, I mean, he had, what was this on the bind? 432 ACS on the bind. Like, are we serious right now? Are we actually serious? Like, he was just slamming everyone. Ridiculous performance individually, and, I mean, Qubit are real nice. You look at the Qubit team, Redux, Nismo, T-Dog, Scuba, Knights. Like, that is a real nice team that they've put together. But the Rankers guys just completely bowled them over, and Canadera especially. I mean, 31 in 13 on the ISO, plus 18, just ridiculous individual performance. And the Pearl was then 13-5. He did it again, 25 in 13 for 373 ACS. Like, how many players, especially against a good team like Qubit Academy, can drop a 403 ACS performance? Like, it just doesn't happen. 15 in 4 First Bloods. The guy was doing it all. Great map as well from Baby J on the second map. 19 and 11 on the Vise as well. So, you know, impressed really by the Rankers guys, but what a performance. And especially because Qubit were looking really strong to just destroy them like that. I mean, you look at the rankings right now in terms of the Americas, you know, challenges, and you've got to say, Rankers with the way that they're looking, I think they've brought a coach in now as well. Yes, Stunner is their coach right now. He used to be on T1. So, you know, he's in as a coach. They're scrimming properly. Like, they look like the favourites for Ascension, I'm not going to lie, as it presently stands. A team that is not favourites for anything, though, is NRG. Because let's get into this drama, man. They formed this roster in the off-season. It was a controversial team, let's be honest, when they formed it in the first place. Because, you know, bringing in Marder, bringing in Verno, and of course bringing in Bonka. They got rid of Coach Chet. They decided to bring back FNS, which in and of itself was an interesting decision because, you know, FNS is going to have his ways that he wants to go about things. He's in his last year competing. He's said that himself. So, you know, there were potentially always going to be problems here. But the off-season was looking real good. They were excellent. They won the Soup Live, you know, tournament out there in Korea. They looked pretty much indomitable at times at that tournament. Their off-season looked very strong. They turned up to the kickoff, expected to make a serious run. They got clapped by Cloud9, they beat 100T, and then they bombed out of the tournament to Crew. So, yeah, it was ugly. No doubt about it, it was ugly. And to such an extent that they've decided blowing it up is the only answer. Tanley puts this article out. It's not been officially confirmed as yet by NRG, but with all the talk around this, it's almost certain, I think, this is exactly what is happening based on the clips that we are going to see in a second. So according to sources, these guys are gone. They won the Sen City Classic. They won the Soup Valorant League, but their kickoff was bad, and therefore they've got rid of these guys. Despite their efforts, Verno and Bonka, the organisation appears to be heading in a new direction as they gear up for the remainder of 2025. These decisions mark a significant shift for NRG as they prepare for the remainder of the season. The organisation's plans for benching remain unclear, but we can expect NRG to make moves at aiming to reclaim their position, basically. So these guys apparently are done, they're gone, and it was a massive story of yesterday and, of course, continuing into today. So the question, I guess, is why, how, why are they doing this now at this specific moment makes a lot of sense. They just bombed out of the tournament. But getting rid of your coach and the player that he effectively brought in, I guess is one way to look at it, just 4 months after signing them is a majorly big deal. Like, you know, I've seen it before when players will come in, they will, you know, get dropped because they're not fitting the lineup. And fair enough, that happens. But to get rid of a player and a coach simultaneously is very interesting, and it doesn't usually happen in this way where a coach comes in and clearly they are choosing someone's opinion over the opinion of the coach. That man, I guess, is FNS. And I imagine that there was, you know, some sort of drama with these two because Bonkar, of course, and Verno both came over from Oxygen Esports. It seemed to be a good decision on paper. It was working out very well in the offseason where Verno was excellent. And maybe when Verno was excellent, it papered over some cracks. The team was winning, it papered over some cracks. But when Verno was not so excellent, as he was not great at the kickoff, he played okay, but it was not great at all, really. And the team loses, all of a sudden there are serious issues that were upheld, and that does not seem to change. My feeling is that the team wasn't getting on with Verno, and I'll explain why I think that in a second. My other feeling, I guess, is that Bonkar and Verno, like, you know, they were kind of standing up for each other, or Bonkar was standing up for Verno and saying, no, like, he's my guy, came over from the same team, like, you know, I think we should move forward with him or whatever. And then NRG said, you know what, FNS, you're the man whose decision we count, and we're going to make the decision that you want to make. So that's my read on it. You guys may disagree, but I do think there are reasons why the team, and presumably FNS, let's be honest here, because, you know, FNS is the captain, he is, I wouldn't say the coach, but like, if he's got Coach Bonkar and Verno, and FNS is kind of been giving the blessing of NRG to make the correct calls with this team this season, if he wasn't happy with something and all of a sudden you see, you know, a potential new star player and coach be dipped, like be dropped basically and dipped from the team, then I'm sure that FNS has had some part to play. But that's just my feeling. You guys may disagree. The truth may be different. The reality is that Chet has been living some generational hate watching right now. And we know that Chet was the former coach. I do, like, you might think it's like salty from Chet and it's petty from Chet. And to be fair, it is. But is it funny? Sure. And I do respect that he commits to his hater arc very substantially, as he says, filled some of it out for the boy, because obviously he's very happy with the fact that a coach that replaced him has now been dropped. Like, you know, I don't imagine that he's unhappy about the situation. He might say, bring me back, NRG, like, you know, after Bangkok, I'm ready to compete again. That's not impossible. So he fills out this McDonald's application for, you know, Malcolm Wrench, of course, the former head coach. But it does seem like the Bonkar's already got a new job, and we'll discuss that in a second. What I did want to say, though, is some of the reaction to this, Verno being benched, but also some of the reasons why this may make some sense, as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, Verno, of course, was on NRG. He did a good job, and, you know, there was this clip as well that NRG posted at the end of January, and Boost just says I got farmed by a bench warmer because, you know, now he's dropped straight down to the bench here. Even Ardis was asked for his thoughts by Durka, and he says, even fair play to Ardis actually giving a reasonable take, but he says, let's wait for the replacements before we comment on the situation. As Marv says, if NRG fail to give us answers immediately, us fans will be outraged. So people do want answers, and totally fair enough. And as FNS says, so many valuable opinions circulating, I can't even keep up. I'd like everyone to explain what is going on here and why. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what FNS says in due course, exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Shank says, can't wait to get to work with you, but I thought it was pretty funny. But I wanted to show a couple of clips here, one of which is from Sean Gares, where he says that as far as he's concerned, he's heard this for some time, that there were issues behind the scenes at NRG that were affecting their roster. And I also wanted to share a video that I'd actually not seen until just this morning when I stumbled across it because people were talking about it. Verno's introduction video in his introductory interview to NRG. Now, genuinely listening to this, it sounds like he's trolling, but assuming that he's being, like, sincere in that he clearly doesn't want to do this interview, really. But, like, the way that he speaks and the way that his approach seems to be to me is a player who I, especially for a guy like FNS, I just cannot see working. And I also think that this type of mentality, at least my read on it, is not that of a player who's going to prove to be successful in the longer term. So, you know, my feeling is just listen to this clip and have a think about whether you could see this player and the type of team that NRG want to be getting along if the team isn't having success. The answer is probably no.
The West Coast just grew up normally, moved to Texas, and then now I'm moving back to like the West Coast to compete, so. The main thing that I did was gaming, but I mean, I just did school and then I just tried to do as little work as possible. I just did whatever was fun for me at the time. I mean, typical day is like the same as any other typical day. I mean, I don't really play Valorant or like do anything like outside of like practice. I don't do any like out of the game like practice or anything. I don't like deathmatch, I don't aim train. Never VOD reviewed in my life. I just like live normally however I want to. I basically just do whatever I want every day at all times and then prac, and then after that I do whatever I want. I mean, my goals are to like win like an international event, and then I mean my goal like in life is just not have to work, so I'll probably just like retire in like a few years and then just like move somewhere and just like never have to work. Just do whatever I want.
You know, for how successful NRG's offseason was, for how optimistic I was about the team, like listening to their communication, it's shocking. It's definitely shocking. There's certainly some shit bubbling behind the scenes, and I was aware of it. I was very aware of it, actually. Like, I'm talking months ago. I had heard a lot of stuff about like the potential problems within this team. And I kind of alluded to it. I can't say these things on stream, but I kind of alluded to it. I was like, the only thing that's going to stop NRG is if the team implodes. Like, something happens with the team. Because they looked so fucking good in the offseason, but I kept hearing these fucking whispers about weird shit that could happen in that team.
So then the question becomes, what are they going to do instead? Marder is still there, Som, Ethan, FNS, they're all still there. The other player could be Rossy. Now, it's just a talking point. Rossy is available. NRG tweeted this out back in December, which I thought was pretty funny. We obviously know that with what's happened with the Cloud9 situation, Rossy is available. They could go and get him, and Rossy pops a little smiley face on the timeline yesterday. Now, if he came in, he wouldn't be the IGL, and maybe that's fine, to be honest, because you know, maybe he's not the best IGL, and maybe FNS should be leading the lines there, which is probably what's going to be happening. But yeah, there's just some theories. It could be a troll, sure. But if you had to guess, Rossy to NRG, does it make sense? You know, I think they could make it work. I think that's something they should at least heavily consider right now. The other big update as well is that Tanmay this morning says that Bonka are getting he's going to Fnatic basically, right? So Fnatic are getting him. They dropped Elmer Pally the other day. And apparently this whole situation with NRG is moving so quickly that he's just, you know, reached a verbal agreement at least. I'm sure they've got to get contracts sorted. But yeah, rumour has it, Bonkar's out of NRG, straight over there to Fnatic. And Verno's going to be, what, warming the bench on NRG still? What's the plan? Very, very interesting stuff. But interesting that, you know, Bonkar's like, all right, guys, you didn't want me anymore? I'm out of here type thing. I'm straight off to Europe. I'm going to go to Fnatic and all that. It also does make you wonder whether, to some degree, this could have been planned, as in, you know, because I'm sure if Sean Gares heard that there was roster drama internally at this team, Bonka probably might have known that this team wasn't lasting the test of time. So whether Bonka already had a plan to leave, whether Bonka, you know, had a plan to bench himself and leave or whatever, or like if maybe Verno was dropped, maybe Bonka was going to say, all right, you dropped Verno, I'm out of here, I'm going to Fnatic. Like maybe that was part of his plan, who knows? But maybe we'll find out in due course. Drama, drama, drama. It is Valorant esports at the end of the day. There was some talk from Vanity as well that just because of the schedule, the teams don't have the time to really stick to their roster and grow and learn and everything because the format is so uncompromising. And I do get that. I think in this case, it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. But I know there was talk, and I understand it, that right now in China, there is a tournament going on, the China Evolution Series. And you guys will notice all of the teams that are not going to Bangkok are here. They're playing. I mean, even Edward actually did play. Edward and Trace did play, but they didn't play with their full team. They played with, you know, basically a substitute roster and everything. But like all of the teams are there, And it's a great opportunity for the teams to play while the other guys are going to Bangkok, they're playing and everything. There's more opportunities. So I think this kind of Evolution Series thing, if this is a thing in all regions around the world, it's got no prize pool, but it's just a good idea, I'd think, for the teams to get involved into this, something else to play, so they can get a bit more understanding of where their team is before they make changes while they sit back and watch everyone else go to Bangkok who qualified. So very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.